for meals, but a code of silence when it was enforced harshly at all times by the guards. The inmates worked and ate together, but in complete silence. At night, the prisoners were kept in individual cells, even though the original plan called for double cells. For several decades, this system was adopted by other jurisdictions. This system was also called the congregate systems. The Sing Sing Correctional Facility, also in New York, was built using this system under the supervision of the former warden of the Auburn prison, Elam Lins. As of 2010, Auburn Correctional Facility is responsible for the manufacturing of New York State's license plates. Riots and uprising. Auburn has a long history of controversy, scandal, and riot. It has been the site of several notable riots over the years, including November 1820 and a race-related riot in 1921. The most serious were two related incidents in the summer and winter of 1929. On July 28, 1929, only a week after a similar incident at Clinton Prison in Dannemora, inmates sprayed acid in an officer's face and gained access to the prison's armory. Prison shops were set on fire, 6 buildings were destroyed, and 4 prisoners escaped. 2 inmates were killed and 1 wounded, and 5 officers were injured. Later that year, on December 2, 2011, Warden Edgar Jennings and 6 guards were taken hostage by a group of inmates, some of whom had obtained guns in the July riot and concealed them in the interim. This uprising caused the death of principal keeper George A. Dorn as well as 8 prisoners. 3 inmates were later charged, convicted, and executed at Sing Sing for their roles in the riots. On November 4, 1970, inmates succeeded in seizing control of the facility and held 50 people, including guards and outside construction workers, hostage for more than 8 hours. The incident was attributed to increasing radical tensions and to prisoners' rights being violated. So let's proceed to the third topic, which is the Pennsylvania system. Pennsylvania system is a penal method based on the principle that solitary confinement fosters penitence and encourages reformation. The idea was advocated by the Philadelphia Society for alleviating the miseries for public prisons, whose most active members were Quakers. In 1829, the Eastern State Penitentiary on Cherry Hill in Philadelphia applied the so-called separate philosophy. Prisoners were kept in solitary confinement in cells 16 feet high, nearly 12 feet long, and 7.5 feet wide. An exercise yard completely enclosed to prevent contact among prisoners was attached to each cell. Prisoners saw no one except institution officers and an occasional visitor. Solitary penitence, however, was soon modified to include the performance of work such as shoemaking or weaving. The Pennsylvania system spread until it predominated in European prisons. Critics in the United States argued that it was too costly and had deleterious effects on the minds of the prisoners. The Pennsylvania system was superseded in the United States by the Auburn system. Pennsylvania is known as the Keystone State for its role in building the foundations of United States of America, it is here that the Declaration of Independence, U.S. Constitution, and the Gettysburg Address were written. It is also known as the Quaker State for the religion of state namesake William Penn. Prison were kept in solitary confinement in order to think about their life and crimes and face up to themselves. The chaplain played an important part in this, encouraging inmates to turn to religion. The idea was that even when taking exercises or in chapel, prisoners could not see or talk to each other. It was also felt a strict diet of work and military discipline would help to turn them into law-abiding citizens. Unlike Auburn or Sing Sing, Pennsylvania Eastern Penitentiary 1829 was intended to keep convicts separate even as they worked, in order to prevent any earthly contamination or distraction that might impede their repentance, hence the term penitentiary. Located on Cherry Hill on the outskirts of Philadelphia, Eastern represented one of the most imposing and expensive architectural achievements in the United States to date, and it contained innovations such as running water and flush toilets in all the cells. Although Beaumont and Tocqueville found it incontestable that the perfect isolation secures the prisoners from all fatal contamination, they favored the more cost-effective Auburn plan, which seemed more likely to enable states to profit from convict labor. Francis Lieber, the Prussian immigrant scholar who translated Beaumont to Tocqueville's work into English, held Americans' new penitentiary systems as monuments of a charitable disposition of the honest members of society toward their fallen and unfortunate brethren. Lieber coined the term penology to describe that branch of criminal science which occupies itself with the punishment of the criminal, not with the definition of crime, the subject of accountability and proving of the crime, which belongs to criminal law and the penal processes. Another prominent foreign visitors to Eastern Penitentiary was much more critical of the uncompromising solitary confinement approach. After touring the institutions in 1842, Charles Dickens, the English novelist, concluded in his American Notes, 1842, that the Pennsylvania plan was cruel and wrong, saying he found this slow and daily tampering with the mysteries of the brain to be immeasurably worse than any torture of the body. So let's proceed to the 5 deployment of prisoners. Modification of Circular Number 4.92A on the transfer of national prisoners to the Bureau of Corrections in Muntinlupa, Metro Manila. Number 1. National prisoners in Regions 10 and 11 to be committed to the Davao Prison and Penal Farm at Panabo, Davao del Norte. Number 2. National prisoners in Regions 9 and 12 to be committed to the San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm at Zamboanga City, Zamboanga del Sur. Number 3. National prisoners in Region 8 to be committed to the Leyte Regional Prisons at Aboyog, Leyte. Number 4. National prisoners in Palawan and Puerto Princesa City to be committed to the Iwahig Prison and Penal Farm to Puerto Princesa, Palawan. And number 5, national prisoners in Mindoro Oriental and Mindoro Occidental. Number 5, national prisoners in Mindoro Oriental and Mindoro Occidental to be committed to the Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm at Sablayan, Mindoro Occidental. It is understood that 1. All female national prisoners shall continue to be committed to the correctional institution for women at Mandaluyong Metro, Manila. And number 2, all other national male prisoners not included in the foregoing enumeration shall be committed